of my heart. It swings me left to right like a wrecking ball on a 6-foot chain, forever all my life. It only goes to show sweet misery. You can follow me down to the end of my path, but you still gotta get through me.
To start off talking about the record, which is coming out next week, I believe, or on the 27th, You. I'm curious because you just released, like we kind of alluded to, an album last year, and a lot has happened to everybody and everything since then. So I guess my first question is, how has the past year affected you, especially with relation to making music?
How did I use last year?
Well, how is it? How is what happened to whatever experiences you have and around you affected how you approach making this record?
Yeah, it kind of permeated through every layer of what I was doing, especially my mindset. But for a good chunk of the time, you can imagine I couldn't really write a song for a while. I was too busy watching the world trip over itself. So it was really hard for a while. I couldn't imagine this record being made without what happened having happened.
Gotcha.
It's very tied together, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So was there a point, something that spurred you and said, I got to make a record right now?
No, well, yeah, I'm always bored of the thing I just released. So I was eager to, if I don't record a song, they just kind of slip by and I end up with too many songs. So I did want to get some songs out, while they're fresh.
Very good. So you headed down to Durham, North Carolina to make the record, and you recorded it pretty much in a week's time. So tell me about the sessions. What was it feeling like working like that?
First of all, it was weird being in a room full of strangers, especially strangers you admire, during COVID indoors. We're kind of figuring out how to facilitate that. So, and also get to know each other and also figure out what the hell we wanted the records to sound like. So there's a lot of different elements working around, but it was very good energy in the rooms. And I've always admired Brad, Phil Cook, and Matt McCon, and Amelia Meath. It was very much like me being a starry-eyed kid in a candy shop during the apocalypse.
Right. Just what you wanted to be and where you wanted to be.
Yeah.
So what kind of discussions did you have about how you wanted the record to sound and feel?
Well, keyboard just recently, Justin Vernon from Bon Iver, he recommended I get this keyboard, and that's the first time I've ever played keyboard. So about a week before I went to go record, I was making all these grandiose, wacky demos and shit. So I got in my head that I want the record to sound like this. So I brought it to Brad, and Brad's like, this is cool, but I don't think it's time right now for a Tre Burt keyboard record.
Right.
Don't go too crazy. Just kind of capture what makes the songs, which is, I guess it's mostly like the lyrics and the vocal presentation and the guitar work. So kind of just put that on a stage and let flew with that.
Right. So when you're writing the lyrics, and are you like watching the news and jotting down notes, or what is your waking up in the middle of the night with a revelation in your head? How does it work with you?
Sometimes that I've been taking a lot of baths. I'm probably taking upwards of 200 baths the past year, and I find that's a great place to kind of literally stew and think about
that
shit.
Is literally stewing. You're right.
Yeah, did a lot of that. I ride my bike a lot. I guess I think a lot while I'm in motion. So riding my bike a lot of the time. I don't know. It's different every single time. You never know when a certain sort of idea is going to come and why. You just kind of have to keep yourself content and more or less.
Right. So the album, we'll touch on a couple of tracks on the record because I've had the good fortune of listening to it before it's come out. So it's very exciting.
Oh, cool, man.
And
did you like it?
Yeah, of course, man. What's not to like?
Hey,
I mean,
you never know.
Yeah. Has anyone ever told you, nah, I just don't like what you're doing?
Yeah, this one show in, I think it was La Spezia, Italy. I played in this little basement a couple of years ago, and this girl after the show came up to me smoking a cigarette, a couple of her friends, and she's like, "Do you think what you're doing is good?"
Oh, man.
I was like, I don't know. Haven't really thought about it.
Oh, well, if that's the only one, that you're doing all right. So one of the songs I was hoping to talk about was By the Jasmine, which is the second track on the record. And it's kind of got these characters in it, Dante and Karen.
Dante woke up, he didn't mean to. He could have used a little more time in his dreams, but it was getting late in the evening, and as depressed as he was, he went walking in that buzzing night.
Who are kind of, I assume they're kind of metaphors, or they stand symbolic of somebody, but you tell me. I don't want to tell you what your song's about.
Well, I'd much prefer you tell me what it's about. I hate telling people what songs are about. It kind of ruins the
right.
The belief, the suspense of belief. But yeah, it's kind of a trope at this point. So I just dug into it, and it's less a song and more kind of like a theater sort of story sort of thing, frankly, and maybe a little bit of comedy here and there,
right?
Because that's life. It's not always as drab as it appears. Some horrible situations are also funny.
Right. All right.
I don't know, for some fucked up reason, it's twisted.
Yeah, gotcha. But I thought the line that stuck out for me was she's talking about the Karen character. She's just a white girl running with the law on her side. And, I mean, obviously, no matter where you are, racism and that kind of dynamic between people happens everywhere. So it's a universal kind of thing, unfortunately. Tell me what caused you to write that, if you don't mind.
Well, a lot of people get comfortable in their own ideas about how things are, and they get complacent in those ideas. So I figured if I just spoke from, again, I'm speaking, all of these songs are from my own experience. I'm not trying to speak for anybody or any particular thing. This song is kind of an anecdote, more or less, of something that happened to me not too long ago. And I just I like to put people on blast. I don't like to really hold too many punches, because I think people are used to being coddled, especially in music.
Yeah. And do you feel like you can be more direct and more honest? And how does that work between you and the audience when that happens?
I don't really think about them too much if I'm trying to, if I have something particular I'm trying to say with
right.
the song. I will say though that having a bigger platform now does make me want to be even more direct.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Because some people react exactly the opposite. They're like, "Oh no, I'm making money here. I've got an audience. I don't want to offend anybody."
Yeah. Luckily, the label I'm on really cares for speaking it how it is, however the artist is feeling. I don't have to tell you. John's one of the best people to do that. So
right.
I feel very
we're talking about John Prine, and the label is Oh Boy. And well, I see you've written a song kind of about it or them, Dixie Red.
Yeah.
Kind of inspired by Mr. Prine, who's sadly no longer with us. We were lucky enough to get a visit from him down here in New Zealand not too long ago. So.
Oh yeah.
It is very cool. So tell me about the song Dixie Red. There's a video with it with you kind of wandering through sunflowers, and it's pretty upbeat.
And blue smoke from my cigarette danced upon my eye. Moon has risen and it lit your way to paradise. Dixie Red lie in the grass like a diamond cut in half, and it shines like gold and it can't be sold or even walked past.
So yeah, my friend Lance Bangs came to town, and he luckily felt a connection to the songs, and he came to where I live, Sacramento, California. And he's just a kind of a madman, you know. He thought of all of these ideas and where he thinks the song should take place. So yeah, we're driving around Highway 80 looking for the sunflower field, and the one that we wanted was closed. So we found this little patch on the side of the road, the last edge of sunlight, and we got out there and got stung by a couple bees.
Of course.
Yeah, and played some music.
Very cool. And how involved are you in the kind of the visualization of your songs and making the videos and all that?
Not so much. No.
Let somebody else worry about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
One day I'd like to be more hands-on, but right now, like, again, all this stuff is so new to me.
Right.
Aspects with the label and the touring and stuff. I don't really have the mental capacity to take on everything I want to right now.
Right. So I'm kind of curious because I read a bit about you and know that you kind of worked a lot of menial labor and working class jobs, and you kind of have that background. How does that affect the way you approach making music now that you're signed to a label and you're traveling around? And I mean, you're not living the high life, I'm sure, but you're not picking cotton either. So there you go.
Yeah, sure. Well, I really liked having those jobs because they force you to not play guitar.
Right.
You know, except for one job. I worked as a maintenance technician at a condo in Portland, Oregon. I had a little office, so I'd bring my guitar there, play my office, or bring it to the roof and roll a spliff. You know, look at the skyline. That was nice. But generally speaking, I liked having a job because it forced me not to beat my head against the wall trying to write a song. I had to be someplace, and I thought about the song in a different way. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Now, one other song I wanted to kind of touch on was called "Me Oh My." I think.
Yeah.
Which is kind of an upbeat thing. Possible yodeling involved. I don't know.
I don't know either, man. As my good friend Haley Hendricks, I played her the demo of that song when I first made it. She's like, "This is great. You're connecting to the little boy in you," and it's
right.
It's a little hilarious. So yeah, I think it's just I think that day, because I wrote several songs up there in that cabin when I was writing them songs, and that day I wrote 2 songs, and I really didn't I wrote a serious song. I think it was By the Jasmine, right before that. And I really didn't want to write another serious song.
Yeah.
So that one is, I guess.
Do you kind of think about that?
Polar opposite of.
Yeah. Do you think about how songs are going to flow in an album when you're putting it together? You know, upbeat, downbeat, sad, happy.
No, I just try and collect as much from the crop during the writing season as I can, and then once I have like a good batch of songs, then I'll start arranging an album or an arc of some sort, how they'll flow. Right.
So you mentioned that your shows have kind of been postponed or canceled, that you had all planned out, which is got to be a bummer.
Yep.
And the album's out on the 27th. So what's the plan now? Do you have one?
You're looking at it.
Oh man, there you go.
We're just driving through traffic. That's become our life now.
Really?
No. What's the plan? I guess go see some friends in Nashville, and I think I'll be there when the album comes out. So maybe we'll try to make some sort of celebration out of it.
Yep, you got to. Yeah, very cool. I mean, yeah, Nashville seems to be more than just a country place these days. It seems like everybody's working out of there. So,
Yep, there's a lot flying from a lot of places there. Could be overwhelming.
and have you ever been to New Zealand?
I have, yeah.
When? How?
Well, I used to live in Australia
Oh,
from 2015 to 17. So when my working visa expired, I hopped over to New Zealand to visit my friend Samara, and she took me to the hot water beaches up north.
oh yeah.
That was really cool. We got a little shovel and dug a little hot tub. It was great.
Yep.
I love New Zealand.
Yep. We do have a lot of hot springs around. It's kind of bubbly and muddy.
Yeah.
But it's good. It's cold here now. It's winter.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But I'm going to venture out after I speak to you and see what it's like out there with lockdown. So
yeah. What do you do during lockdown in New Zealand?
I do this.
Are the cafes open or anything? Or
well, there's dairies and supermarkets and gas stations are open. So.
Oh, you guys have the best pies in the gas stations. I
That
was
is
trying
a
to tell my
fact.
friend.
When I
Yes,
first came
it's-
here, before I moved here, we just drove around the country and I discovered the wonder of the pie. And I tried one out in like every town that went.
Yeah.
Those are good. Yeah. So there is
Yeah, I
that.
can't. Next time I go back, I'm just thinking about the pies.
There you go. Thinking about the pies. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for thinking about talking to me. I really appreciate it.
Of course, no, thanks for talking to me.
Yeah. And hopefully all things go well with the new record and, maybe borders will open up and we can all interact again at some point.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
All righty. Have a good time. And
Thanks, friend.
drive safely.